Yo, what's going on, everybody? It is your boy Fitz TV here, aka G33. I'm back here today with another video on the channel for you guys, and we're gonna be switching things up a little bit today. We're gonna be talking a little bit MCU. I do like to do an MCU video here and there, and even though most of our content is usually around wrestling or anime or something like that, I do love my Marvel Studios. So definitely every once in a while I do like to, switch things up for you guys. And we're going to be talking about something that has been very controversial the last couple of days, and that is the finale of the She-Hulk series on Disney Plus. And everybody has an opinion on it. I'm going to give you guys mine in this video. It's the most different of the finales we've seen from the MCU show so far. And the second I saw the finale, I knew people were gonna be talking about it. I knew there was gonna be a lot of people that weren't gonna like it, and I knew there was gonna be some people that did like it. I think so far it's been more of like a 50-50 balance, if I'm being honest. But after taking a couple days, because I thought about making a video the second the finale ended, but I wanted to take a day or two just to think about the show and just rewatch the finale and then make a video talking about it. And I'm not going to be reviewing the full She-Hulk series. I just want to focus on the finale, really. And when you look at what She-Hulk was meant to be, right, from the start, if you paid attention to the marketing of the show and what the show told you from the first two episodes, you knew this was going to be different than anything that came before it. They told you the show was going to be a comedy, right? And they told you that this was not going to be like previous MCU shows. It wasn't going to have the serious tone of a WandaVision or a Falcon and Winter Soldier or a Moon Knight. They told you that from the jump, right? And there's some people that didn't understand that. Everybody knows, if you know me, I'm a huge MCU stan. I love the MCU. I watch everything that comes out. And I knew from the jump that this was not going to be like other MCU movies and shows. They were taking a whole different approach because the She-Hulk character is completely different than 90% of the Marvel characters. You could say the exact same thing about Deadpool. And I'll talk about Deadpool a little bit later on in the video. But, the She-Hulk character is different. And I know there's many people out there that are fans of the MCU that don't read the Marvel comics, right? I have a pretty good knowledge of the Marvel comics. I'm not, a Marvel comics historian, but I've read a good amount of them. And if you've read any one of the She-Hulk Marvel comics, they were actually pretty accurate and pretty faithful to the character in the comics. I think if Stan Lee was alive, personally, he would actually be proud of what Marvel did with the She-Hulk character in the She-Hulk show. She is different. She breaks the fourth wall. She's wacky with her interactions with other characters. She's not like the other heroes. She's nothing like, the Hulk that smashes things. And if you really break down the finale, they were actually really faithful to the character. They did a lot of things that were different and, not like what we expect from an MCU finale, but that was fine. Coming into the finale, we really didn't know what to expect, right? Because the end of episode 8, after, She-Hulk hooks up with Daredevil, right? And then she legit turns to the camera. She's like, isn't this where the episode's supposed to end? Like, what's happening? And then they have the gala, and then you see She-Hulk rage, right? After it's, intelligentsia, they revealed, that Joss secretly stole some of She-Hulk's blood and, filmed them having sex and whatever. You would think it was going to set up for this big finale, right? This big fight, like you see in almost every ending of a Marvel show and a Marvel finale. And that's honestly what we were expecting. If you looked at the teaser trailers coming into this episode, you could see Hulk return, and he was going up against Abomination, and it looked like they were setting the stage for a huge final fight. And they legit fooled you. For everyone thinking that there was going to be a big fight in the finale, they legit fooled you, right? And that's what I was thinking coming into it. Like, I was like, when I first saw the teaser trailer and I saw Hulk, I was like, wait a minute, what? It doesn't make any real sense for him just to return to Earth, like that. But of course, we got an explanation for that at the end of this episode. But legit, they legit fooled you because what do you expect? You always expect a big fight between the protagonist and the antagonist at the end of these shows, right? Because that's what Marvel's about, those big final fights that that are so legendary from the Avengers movies and Endgame and etc. etc. But you don't get that here. You get something completely different, and it's actually in line with the She-Hulk character. We know that she likes to break the fourth wall all the time, turning to the camera, talking to the audience, right? And she does that more than ever in this episode, which I love. And then, when things get really wacky, when, at first, when you see what they make you believe is about to be the final fight scene with Hulk versus Abomination, right? And all that. Instead, Jen Walters, she looks at the camera, she's like, this is not how it's supposed to end, right? As the audience, yes, this is what you expect because this is what you get at the end of every Marvel show. This is what you always expect, right? Whatever's happening in the season or whatever's happening in the movie, it leads up to this huge conclusion, right? This big fight scene that's supposed to tie everything together and wrap up all the plot lines, right? And, set up for whatever's coming next. But you get something completely different. Jen's like, this is not how I want my story to end, right? And she legit does something that we've never seen before, and she breaks through the Disney Plus barrier. We see it actually transition to Disney Plus. She exits the She-Hulk show and enters into the real world, right, of the MCU studios, and she's confronting the writers, and she's pissed. Right? She's absolutely pissed. She's like, this is not how I wanted my show to end. Which then, of course, leads her to actually, entering the studio to go find Kevin, right? Which, of course, is a reference to MCU President Kevin Feige. There's this AI system. And she confronts him about the writing of her own show. And in a crazy thing, she basically writes the ending of her own show. She breaks the fourth, the fifth, the sixth walls, and she actually writes her own ending, which is wacky. But if you've read the She-Hulk comics, this actually makes sense. This makes sense. I know people are like angry about it, and they hate that. There are people are saying, "Oh, the MCU isn't serious anymore." Guys, this is just the She-Hulk show. All right, the whole point of the show was to introduce the character of She-Hulk, right? Add her into the MCU, and then of course the stuff that happens at the end. You get to see Daredevil make his first real MCU appearance, if you don't count the 30 seconds he was in No Way Home, right? And then further things with Hulk a little bit and what's going on with him, and really that's it. The consequences of this show don't really have much to any impact on the broader MCU. Because we know that Phase 4 has been about, debuting new characters and, slowly, building towards what's going to be Avengers 5 and 6. And a little side note, I am very disappointed now that Kevin Feige hyped us all up, saying that we were going to get 2 Avengers movies in 1 year in 2025, right? With Avengers 5 Kang Dynasty and then Avengers 6 Secret Wars. But then it was just revealed or announced earlier this week that Avengers 6 is getting delayed another year. So thanks for hyping us up for nothing, Kevin Feige, right? And I always thought it was going to be difficult for them to do two movies in 1 year, but I digress. 2 Avengers movies in 1 year, but I digress, right? Anyway, back to She-Hulk. The stakes of this show are not that major when it comes to the broader scope of the MCU. We know that there's going to be more with She-Hulk going forward, right? I think no one's doubting that. We expect She-Hulk to probably appear if they do another Hulk movie, right? So be there for the Avengers movies, most likely. And I do think, we could get a She-Hulk season 2 down the line. Right? But like I said, the stakes of this show, are not that major at all. It's a comedy. From the start, they said this was a comedy, and people didn't believe that. People were like, "Oh no, yes, it might be a comedy, but eventually, right? I expect things to get rived up a little bit, and things will get a little more serious, and then that's what's gonna happen." No, from the start, they told you that this was gonna be a comedy. I read an article earlier today that the writers and the directors of the show, right? They wrote 20 different endings for the finale, and a lot of them, ended up having a big fight scene. But that was not the direction of the show from the start. You watched the 9 episodes, right? Each every single week, there was different elements and different themes, right? One episode's about Wong, another episode's about the Abomination. One's on Daredevil, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. But they told you from the start that this was going to be a comedy. There was never any big point where, they made you think like, oh, this is building up to something, bigger, right? That this is going to have some kind of, she also going to have this big antagonist that she needs to face, right? And overcome. And then eventually, accepting, her powers, as She-Hulk. That was never the point. That's what you guys, the audience, wanted. But Marvel Studios had a completely different plan. And this is what Kevin Feige does. Why are you guys really that surprised that this finale was so different? Kevin Feige has a very, very good idea about what fans want and what they expect, right? And almost every single time, he flips things on his head and does things completely different. So this doesn't surprise me at all. I've entered into every single MCU project since like Avengers, since Captain America: Civil War, and gone in with the expectation I have no idea what's gonna happen. Forget the teaser trailers, forget anything they do. Marvel Studios half the time is lying to you, and you really don't know the true story until the full story actually comes out, and you sit there and watch the whole thing from start to finish, right? She-Hulk breaks the fourth wall and she's talking about different things. She talks about, when are we getting the X-Men? And she, turns to the camera, gives a thumbs up because she knows, and Kevin Feige and everyone knows that, oh, we want the X-Men in the MCU. We want our X-Men movie, right? Kevin Feige knows what the fans are waiting for. And legit, this is all a slow building process. They're not going to give you everything right away. Most of this stuff you're going to have to wait months and years for. Right? And in a way, She-Hulk kind of represents the audience in a way. Because She-Hulk is so self-aware, right? That she knows what the fans want. She knows that this is a show at the end of the day. She legit knows this is her show. And instead of going with what the writers, wanted the finale to be, right? What the audience wanted to be in a big finale, she's like, no, I'm going to be self-aware and I'm going to do this for me. I'm going to write the ending that I want. So yes, I've seen people on social media that are, pissed that we didn't get a big fight scene at the end, or they never really followed up with Jason stealing the She-Hulk blood, right, and them doing legit nothing with that. Sure, there are many people that's disappointing and people are pissed, but the whole point of this show wasn't really to make some kind of big battle scene and to turn She-Hulk into this monster, fighter that's all about being an Avenger and protecting. Like, no, that was never really the point. This show was more about Jennifer Walters, right? And her coming to grips with her new identity as She-Hulk and balancing that. Because remember, she never wanted to become an Avenger. Even after she got the crazy powers and she got, used to it, right? She still was reluctant to become an Avenger. She would only use her powers if she really needed to do so, right? And, through her interactions with Daredevil and other characters, she accepts that power and she learns to use it in her own way. She doesn't use it just to be an Avenger like Shang-Chi and all the other characters that have been introduced in Phase 4. She uses to use her powers for what she wants, right? And that's what it is about. This is about Jennifer Walters at the end of the day and her becoming the person she wants to be, right? Being the lawyer and also being a superhero. That's really what it's all about. This is not about her becoming an Avenger, right? And yes, of course, like I said, she will be in those Avengers movies. We all know that. We know that the lineup for heroes that will be in King Dynasty and Secret Wars will be absolutely massive, right? But at the end of the day, this is not about her joining the Avengers. It really never was about that. This was about Jennifer Walters and her story, right? And I had no problem with it. There's so many cool lines, like when she's talking to Kevin Foggy or Kevin, right? And Kevin tells her, turn away because our VFX team is working on another movie, and then you hear the Wakanda theme in the background, right? Because Black Panther: Wakanda Forever legit comes out as the next MCU project after She-Hulk in the timeline. And I absolutely love that. And then her making the joke, talking about we're Hulks, Hulk smashes buildings, I smash fourth walls and bad endings, and also Matt Murdock. I absolutely love that line, right? She-Hulk, yes, she's a Hulk. She can smash things, but she is so much different than the Hulk, than the Bruce Banner Hulk. Then people need to accept that. People that just want her to be this ultra powerful Hulk that smashes everything, need to really just be like, no, this is a completely different character. Yes, when the time comes and the Avengers need help, Jennifer Walters will be there. She-Hulk will be there, right? But this is not about her becoming an Avenger. This is about her story and her becoming the person she wants to be, with the added benefit and the added pressure of these new powers. I know there's a lot of people that were, not fans of like this woke agenda, right? And this is not even just about Marvel. This is more about Disney and Hollywood in general. I've personally come to, just like accept like this is the way it is. This is the way Hollywood is in 2022. Most shows, most franchises, most movies and shows, right? They are adding this element of the woke agenda into their projects. And sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't, right? But this whole woke agenda and pertains to where it pertains to the She-Hulk show doesn't, it didn't bother my experience of the show. I loved this show. I really did. It was a legal comedy that wasn't super serious, and that's fine for me at the end of the day. It introduced the She-Hulk character, right? It continued Hulk's story, in a way, even though he wasn't in every episode. It introduced Daredevil officially to the MCU, right? And I think it was a really good show. If I had to put, I love the finale. I love how like at the end she goes back into her show, right? And things end up her way. She gets to spend more time with Daredevil. And it'll be interesting to see if they actually, continue as a couple going forward. I would love to see She-Hulk in the Daredevil series. In a couple years when that comes out. I love the dynamic. Those two have fantastic chemistry on screen. But we'll see, right? And of course, the big reveal of Hulk coming back to Earth officially, and then him coming with Shakar, right, his son. This definitely sets the stage for a World War Hulk movie, which we all want, right? And I do think we are gonna get that. I think probably, I think they have it planned. They just haven't announced it in Phase 5 or Phase 6. I think they do have it planned. They're just waiting for the right time to announce it. I do think we're gonna get a Planet Hulk or a World War Hulk movie of some sorts, and I do think when that gets announced, I think She-Hulk will be in it as well. It would make perfect sense, right? Like for her not to be in a World War Hulk movie wouldn't that would make no sense. But I enjoyed the finale. If people are mad that that they didn't get their big finale scene, like grow up. You're getting Wakanda Forever in like less than a month, in about like 3 weeks, right? Like, get over yourselves. Not every single show needs to be this ultra spectacle. I've come to accept that. The Marvel Studios, they have their bad days. There's been stuff in Phase 4 that I haven't liked. Like the Internals. I wasn't the biggest fan of the Miss Marvel series, right? But still, I understood that those things are going to lead to bigger things because, there's always a bigger plan when it comes to Marvel Studios. There's always a bigger plan, right? So yes, there's things that I don't like in Phase 4, and we'll talk about that once Phase 4 is completely over after the Black Panther: Wakanda Forever movie. But all in all, I loved the She-Hulk show. I loved it, and I love the tone of it. I love what they did, how different it was. The cast was amazing, right? Tatiana Maslany, she's already one of my favorite actresses now, right? And when I think of like female heroes, she's up there. She's up there. I know Black Widow in the MCU, like she's dead. But if we're talking about this MCU series, she might be at my number one. I'm trying to think of it right now. You see, she might actually be my favorite hero in the MCU, or female hero. Actually, I gotta think of it. Kate Bishop. I love Kate Bishop. Um, Yenna, but she's up there. I love the way Tatiana Maslany played Jen Walters and She-Hulk in the show. She was awesome, and I cannot wait to see her return. I would love a She-Hulk season 2. Will it get a season 2? If it does, it's probably not going to be for a while. It probably wouldn't be for like 3-4 years, right? But I would love a She-Hulk season 2. I know there's a lot of people that don't want that, but I think give it some time, right? I think you know, I think people will go back and be like, She-Hulk actually wasn't that bad. I think recency bias has a huge role here, but I think as time goes on, right, and people go back and watch She-Hulk, they're gonna be like, actually, this was not bad. It was different, but it made sense when you actually look at the history of the She-Hulk character. Tatiana Maslany was the perfect She-Hulk. I absolutely loved her, and definitely I'm already looking forward to whatever she does next. Whenever they plan to have her come back. I did want to say one thing about Deadpool, right? We all know Deadpool 3 was officially announced a couple of weeks ago with Hugh Jackman returning as Wolverine. Most likely, of course, this would take place before Logan, right? And I am absolutely ecstatic. One thing that I want to mention is you look at Deadpool and She-Hulk, right? Their characters, they have a lot of similarities. They are known for breaking the fourth wall. And we know Deadpool with his jokes and the way he is. He's a much more violent character than She-Hulk, but he's also a comedic character as well. I just want to put this. If you guys think about what they did with She-Hulk, especially with that finale, with her literally breaking the fourth wall and entering entering the real world, right? Imagine what they would do with Deadpool. Imagine what they have planned for Deadpool. We've seen in Deadpool 2, the guy legit, travels back in time after, he gets the device from Cable, and he legit goes into the DC universe and kills Ryan Reynolds before he can become Green Lantern, right? And then, he kills himself as Deadpool when he was playing a different version of the Deadpool character and interacting with Wolverine. If he did that stuff outside of the MCU, and you saw what the MCU just did with the She-Hulk finale, imagine what they could do with Deadpool. Like, the possibilities are endless. Marvel Studios, I've said this before and I'll say it again. They can do whatever they want, and you're going to watch it just because you love the MCU and you believe in Kevin Feige. Even if there's something that makes you angry about Marvel Studios, right? At the end of the day, that's not going to stop you from watching, because at this point, for most people, Marvel Studios has gained the trust of the public. And even when they put out something that's disappointing or bad, right? People think, okay, Marvel took an L on this project or this show or this movie. But of course, they always will make up for it, because that's what Kevin Feige and company does. They've earned our trust when it comes to these projects. They've earned our trust. So even when the MCU takes a small L, it's a small L, because they're going to bounce back with an even bigger W in the future. That's what I'm saying. For people that are mad about the She-Hulk series now, just wait till the Black Panther Wakanda Forever movie comes out, and people are just mouth-watering at how good that movie is. Because there's no way that movie's going to fail, in my opinion. No way. It can't fail. So that's my thing. That's my thing. So people complaining about, that kind of stuff, stop it, right? I think Deadpool is going to be amazing, and I cannot wait to see what they do, because if they pull this stuff with She-Hulk, imagine what they can do with Deadpool. And now I just want a Deadpool and She-Hulk interaction. I kind of hope that She-Hulk shows up in the Deadpool movie now. Because, seeing those two characters interact with one another and legit break the fourth wall in Avengers movies would be absolutely amazing. And I hope they do that. I really do hope they do that. Because if they don't, that would actually disappoint me from Marvel. I don't think they will disappoint us. But, hopefully, I just hope Ken Feige knows we need that Deadpool and She-Hulk interaction now, right? But other than that, that's about all I got for you guys today. I just wanted to come on here talk a little bit about the She-Hulk finale. I loved it. I loved it. I know, there's a lot of people that didn't like it, but I say give it time and actually look back at the lens of the actual She-Hulk character from the Marvel Comics, and actually the ending will make a lot more sense to you guys, right? That's my opinion. But other than that, that's about all I got for you guys today. Thank you guys so very much. If you guys enjoyed this video, leave a like on it. Subscribe if you guys are new to the channel. Hit the bell next to my name, Fitz TV, so you guys are notified every time I post a new video. Thank you guys as always. I will see you guys later. Stay safe and healthy, y'all. Peace.